When I was a child, I didn't know that much about Jesus.
Hello, you have found Why We Are Christians, a conversational interview program, and I am the host this evening. My name is Katie Philpott. I am interviewing someone we actually interviewed at least a year, maybe 2 years ago, but that was by Skype from Togo, Africa, and this time we have our friend Sika Amados in the studio with us. Welcome, Sika, and welcome back to the show. Please tell us all of your names. We love to hear it.
My other names are Edwige, Eliane, Situ, Sika, Kafui, Ayaovi. And my last name is Amados Joko.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad that we are allowed to just say Sika Amados.
Yeah.
Now, are those names from your home country of Togo?
Some are. Most of the people in my country, Togo, have at least 4 names. You have the baptized name, the name of the day that you're born, which is the French name, with the French calendar. There's a name for every day. And then the day of the week that you're born, there's a name.
Wow.
And then your last name. So the day of the week, I'm born on a Thursday, and today is Thursday. So my name is and that's one of our dialect, Ayaovi, because Thursday in our language is Yodagbe. Yoda. So Ayaovi, that's one of the names.
Oh, so you have built into your name kind of the digest calendar of when you were born.
Yeah. And
that's very interesting.
I believe that's done to make it where people will remember the day their kid was born.
Sure.
So it's a big thing. Like even in churches, they have to give offering based on the days. So they'll say, all Monday kids, come and give your offering to the Lord. All Tuesday kid, all Wednesday kid. And then they'll give the amount collected for those weeks. So there's little competition. The other people will say they want more. If you're from the Thursday kid, give more than the Wednesday kids.
Oh, okay.
So, but all Togolese have the day of the week name within their names, baptized and then given. Well, having been the first child, that's why I have so many names.
Oh, you are, so you're the oldest of how many?
Oldest for my mom.
Yes.
And there's 4 of us.
It's 4 of you.
But I'm number 4 for my dad.
Okay.
Total 8 for my dad.
Okay, so 8 for your dad, 4 for your mom.
Yeah.
Yes, we have that kind of thing around here too. Okay, so we'd like to know what that environment was like where you were born and where you grew up, like what town or what tribe, and what was the environment like?
I was born in Lomé, which is the capital city of Togo.
Big place then.
Yeah. Big there.
Big
but
enough.
So, and grew up with my grandma. My mom and I, we all lived with my grandma. My first, I would say my first 3 years were, because my mom was a teacher.
Okay.
So her first assignment was in the village.
Okay.
So she had to take care of us while she was teaching, and I remember she would have my little brother tie on her back while she's teaching the class.
Oh my!
Because there's no one there, because she's alone in the village to watch the kid.
No preschool.
So, no preschool. So we're in the classroom with her, and since my little brother was younger, he will be in the back with a fabric tied back while she's teaching. But growing up, you're used to having a lot of kids you know,
Sure.
like aunts' kids, and so the household was full of kids, you know. So that was
So there was some fun times, I assume.
yes, yeah, fun
Okay.
time.
So since this is a show about becoming a Christian, what was it like in terms of the religious or spiritual environment? Was there Christianity really infused in your world, or did you come upon it in some way?
Now, growing up, Christianity was infused. My mom, we grew up Catholic.
Catholic, okay.
Yes, so I went to catechism, you know, got First Communion and all of that, and going to, you know, the catechism training. So I grew up with, my mom is the one who read the Bible. She would read it to us.
Okay.
Now, what I recall, and I always encourage people who have kids, that is very important because my mom always pray very early. So what she would do is every morning, there were 3 of us, and she would have us, because she prayed early in the morning. She believed that the birds, around 5:36, the bird sings.
Yes, the
and
bird sings
for her, for
early.
the thing, they are praising the Lord, because the Lord created all the creatures to praise Him. So since the bird are sinless, their singing will be taken. So mommy wants us to be up before. So 4 o'clock, she'll wake us up. My brothers will be carried to her room, they will be sleeping on the bed, but me and her will kneel, and she prayed. So we'll pray, and she thank God for her kids. And so I grew up with that every morning, knowing that, you know, but it was more my mom praying for us
Very
versus,
good.
you know.
So the idea of who Jesus is, that's very, very important. Sometimes church environment is not the same as Jesus environment. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So who was Jesus when you were a child?
When I was a child, I didn't know that much about Jesus. I will say I knew, we talked about God. My mom, I think when she started praying more, even though she grew up Catholic, we didn't pray a lot of Catholic, pray to Mary. My mom, I never saw my mom pray to Mary.
Okay.
But my grandmother prays to Mary.
To Mary, okay.
Yeah. But she didn't pray to Jesus when I was growing up. But as I was growing older, just before I came, she will give me passages that was about Jesus, how He came to save us. He died on the cross for us. But I have to say, it was later on when I finished high school that I can say that I started knowing more about it, and I learned more and actually got baptized, submerged baptism at Allen Temple Baptist Church in East Oakland.
That's East Oakland. Well,
Yes.
now we've skipped ahead to a time that we're going to talk more about
That's
later.
So in my childhood, before I came to the U.S., I didn't know that much about Jesus, and I didn't have a personal relationship with Jesus. Mainly my mom's God.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what Mom does. Well,
Yes.
Mom wants us to
Yeah.
join in, so
Yeah.
I guess we will.
Yeah.
Is that kind of thing?
Yes,
Okay.
because she believed in it. She will pray when something's hard for her. She prays, and so it was her God that I knew, but not Jesus.
Okay. So it was her God. That is a kind of a phrase that then will make me think, well, there were other gods in that area. And we've done a lot of study, my husband Kent and I, on East African religion and West African religion. And it's basically shamanism, but it's the worship of the Orisha gods. Did you know about that when you were growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew about it, but my mom made it clear that because there's a god for thunder,
A god for thunder.
And God for the earth god.
Okay.
And then there was the god of the sea, which is the mermaid.
Yes.
And it was more, I would say she wanted to make sure that I know those gods exist, but those are not real because God created them, so they cannot be above
Okay,
God.
I get it.
So I grew up with that sense that the thunder god didn't create us and didn't create the world. So it cannot.
Are they like a demigod, so like a sub-level
Yeah.
of God or something?
They're little god.
They're little gods.
Yeah.
Okay.
God with a small d.
God with a small. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
D is, I say D, that's French.
you
Dieu.
meant G. Oh, G. Yes, you meant
G.
small G.
Yeah, because God in French is Dieu,
Dieu,
which is
like,
D-I-E-U.
yes, like
not
Dios in Spanish.
Yeah,
Yes, it
not
starts with a D.
capitalized.
Right?
Yeah, so.
So, you were surrounded by religion, and it wasn't what you would come to know later in life as Christianity per se. This is what I'm hearing, that it was your mother's version plus these other kinds of traditional beliefs. Tell us more about the traditional beliefs in the area.
The traditional beliefs in the area when I was growing up were people, it was more like ancestral God. These were the great-grandparents' protection. So
that they would be looking down.
Yeah, idols. Yeah.
Okay.
So people believe a lot in. I remember they will go and call to ask the dead why something is happening. So
in some kind of seance.
Yeah, they go to the witch doctor.
The witch doctor.
Yeah, the priest, the witch, the voodoo guy, and he will throw things on the floor and then read it and tell them what the ancestors are saying, why this is happening, what they need to do, what sacrificial thing they need to do. Yeah.
So did people in your environment have altars and idols and things set up to their particular favorite gods, or how did it work?
There is, I won't say particular favorite, but they will say, let's say, they call it heritage.
Heritage.
It was a heritage, like it comes down the family line. So that's the God that had protected that family. So if you following the family tradition, then you should have an idol representing that in your house or your room that you worship.
Okay, so that was the household idol.
Family idol.
The family household idol. Yeah, there were even household idols in ancient Israel that, of course, God sent the prophets over and over and over again to warn them about that, but they kept doing it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ubiquitous around the world in ancient tribal environments, that the God of the family.
The God of the family, and you cannot turn against it because
what happens?
Curse will happen.
A curse.
A curse will happen on you and your children because you are disobeying what had protected your family.
This sounds like it produces fear.
Oh, big time.
So
fear.
And superstition.
Big time. I would say superstition is huge, and fear. And I know my mom and her mother, when I was growing up, I saw a little bit of it, but after getting older, I understood more because my grandmother believed in the idols.
Yes.
And my mom, she's the first child for my grandma.
Yes.
And she didn't want anything to do with it. but her mother made the idol in her name and takes care of it for her.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so she, you know, she doesn't want anything to do with it. So my grandmother would say, you think you, with your belief and all of your prayers and stuff, this is what's going to protect you.
This is, yes, okay.
So,
I understand.
So
Now, what kind of pressure, I guess I'd say, was on you to join in with that idea?
well, I have to say, no pressure, but my mom wanted to make sure I understood that what my grandmother has, and there's a room in the back of the house, like a space that has them. My mom spirit thing was it's a crocodile.
Oh,
Yeah, that they have.
okay.
You know.
Like a spirit animal.
Yeah, spirit animal. So, and she wanted me to make sure that I don't have any connection to that, because I am very close to my grandmother,
Okay.
being her first grandchild.
Yes.
So, so she really clearly explained to me why that is not the way that I should go.
So your mom is kind of a rebellion
Yes.
against your grandma.
Yes.
Her
yes,
own mother.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was. And she was, and my grandmother would be screaming, calling her, Daga, you don't come and put curse on my house.
Oh, yes, I can hear it now.
Don't come and put a curse on my house, and you with your prayer group and stuff like that, that was not going to happen in my house, because it's my grandmother's house.
Yes, yes. Okay,
So,
I get it.
But my mom did, because she strongly believed in that she has to follow God. And I think it was later on she was able to talk to me a little bit about Jesus, but then I left, because I left kind of early. In that way, I left early. I was 16.
Okay, we're going to work up to you leaving now.
Yeah.
And did it have? Did your education, your schooling, play any role in you wanting to leave, or how did that kind of fit in with eventually you getting out of Togo and coming here?
I believe that it's destiny, me getting out of Togo, because at age 15, I decided to go live with my dad.
Okay.
My dad is polygamous. He had 2 wives. So my mom didn't live with my dad. So I wanted to go live with my dad, because my dad was like, my country doesn't have a prime minister, but he was the right hand under the president.
Okay.
So he lived in a nicer home.
Yes.
And
Oh, you wanted to go there.
I'll have my own room, and you have a flushing toilet. that was
a big
one.
thing.
That was a big one for me. And my older sisters kind of coerced me that. I was young, impressed me about that. So I wanted to leave, and that was hard for my mom.
Oh,
She didn't know, it broke her heart. She cried, she begged me, she didn't want me to go, because she grew up with her stepmom, and stepmothers are not great enough.
Not usually.
Not usually.
Well, they're anywhere, not, you know.
But there is not good at all. So, but I think that was all part of God's plan, because if I hadn't moved to my dad, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to come to America.
Yes.
Because being so young, my dad wouldn't have sent me, because I had older sister who was in front of me, who should have gone out of the country before me. But the situation, so I moved in with my dad, and I was going to school in a different school, it's a better school, not public, it's a private school.
Private school, okay. And have anything to do with with a religious institution or just
yeah, it's a Protestant.
Now a Protestant. So instead of Catholic school, you went to a Protestant school.
Yeah, with my mom, I did go to a Catholic school.
Okay, so
for
now
a
you're
year.
getting both sides.
So I went to a Protestant school. And then, but within 2 years, things got really bad with living with my stepmom. She actually banned me from going in the kitchen. So the maid have to serve my food because she said I was putting special thing in the food. That's why my dad loves me more.
Oh my!
So I wasn't allowed to go in the kitchen because the belief of using voodoo on my father through my mom using me. So so it was very uncomfortable.
I see the thinking. Yes,
it was uncomfortable. But my dad could. I think he felt like, you know, just this big guy, head of the family, to let me go back to my mom because it would be like a failure to him.
Ah, that's that. I get it. So instead of sending you back to your mom, he figured to keep peace in his own house, he would send you somewhere else.
Yes. And he sent me to America that he never been to, and so my mom was afraid too, and people scared him. That in America they pass out drugs in schools, and you're gonna send your young daughter who never been anywhere there, and actually my mom later on told me this. He said he has, at the time we were 7, so he has 7. If I become a horrible, I don't make it, he'll have 6 left.
Oh well.
So that was how he dealt with the fear of me coming into problems. But, so
leaving it up to chance, really.
Chance, yes.
Yes. Okay. So walk us through getting over to the country now.
Oh boy. That was a long process.
Well,
but also,
you don't have to walk us all the way through the process.
Too long.
Make it a few
But
sentences.
the thing is that the lady that I came, so I actually was supposed to be here for a year. When I was in school, 6th grade and 7th grade, I went to all the way 9th grade before I came. English and math were my favorite subject.
English and math.
Yes.
Okay.
So my dad thought was I'll come here for a year to get better with my English. And I think in his mind, if I come a year and come back, then when I come back, I'll go to my mom. I don't have to come back to him.
Yeah.
So, and the lady that I came to live with was in Mendocino.
Mendocino, California.
In California. And she was in Peace Corps in Togo.
Oh.
Yes.
Was this like a coincidence? Or it was planned that way?
No, it was, that's how my dad met her.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
She was in Peace Corps in 1960. I wasn't born yet.
Oh.
I wasn't born yet. So she was in Peace Corps for, I think, 2 or 3 years she was there. And since my dad is the right hand of the president, Shamir, the Prime Minister of Israel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Was in Togo.
Okay.
And my dad lived in Israel for a long time. I know. So he was speaking Hebrew, and that's how he met the woman. They went out, and they stayed friends. So she came back and visit, and she said if she would like to take my older sister to come and live with her. She said no. Then my dad said, oh, what about her?
I have another sister.
So they brought me out, and I say hello to her, and then that's how I came to live with her in Mendocino.
Okay, so you've got this kind of diplomatic shortcut that happened for you and got you here. And then how old were you?
I was 16.
You were 16 years old. You've learned English some amount.
Yeah, writing.
In Togo, but wasn't French like more of your regular language?
Yeah, French is the official language. So when you go to 6th grade, you can take English or German or Latin. Okay. No, Latin goes in ninth grade.
Wow.
Ninth grade, you could do Latin.
Nobody speaks Latin, but it's the basis of lots of language, okay?
Yeah, so that was the choices. So from sixth grade on, you take on English, and then eighth grade, you could add German,
Okay.
and then ninth grade, you can pick switch to Latin. So
okay.
I had a few years of English, but classroom English, not
Classroom
speaking. Not speaking English.
So, okay, now you're over here, you're in Mendocino, California. You're, nobody could speak French or Togolese or German or Hebrew or anything else you might have been exposed to. You have to speak English.
Yes.
I mean, there's Spanish, but that wasn't one of yours.
No.
And so this was a Jewish family?
Yes, Jewish family.
Okay, so now you've gone from a combination of Catholic, Protestant, traditional. Now you're over here and you're living with a Jewish family. How did that affect your sense of who God is? And we'll take about 2 minutes for this.
I would say they didn't talk about God. I didn't get to read the Torah, but when I came on Saturdays, we went to synagogue.
Okay.
Every Saturday, and they were more this family, they practice a lot. So we'll have Shabbos, and we will have Seder, everything, where we'll clean the whole cupboards, everything out. So I experienced that, and that reminded me of the little bit that I knew of the Old Testament about Moses, and I think about the Jewish history.
So when you say the little bit you knew of the Old Testament, that's telling me that there was no intensive Bible study going on yet in your life.
No.
And
not reading it either.
okay, so the idea of becoming a Christian is not yet in this half hour of our show. We're still trying to get you used to being here in America and living with a Jewish family. And what was life like other than that? Let's spend about a minute on that.
It was very different, interesting. At that age, being young, I really did not think of America as Mendocino, because all I knew of America that we see is New York, the buildings. So it was shocking that there's a place that looks like a village in Togo. So
right out in the country.
It's amazing that I took 2 days traveling and I ended up in a little village. But it was the best place for me. It allowed me to focus on my studies and also help me learn English better. Because I think if I was in the city, I would have been distracted and it would have been a different result, I think.
A different result.
Yeah, but.
Okay, that result, of course, you're sitting here and we know you and we love you, so we're going to get in the next show to how that result happened. And meanwhile, I'm going to tell everyone that we are very happy that you have been with us for this half hour with Sika Amados, and we are looking forward to our next half hour next time. So long.